speaker is Dr. Emanuele PULVIRENTI, that actually it's in Bristol Robotic Lab with Prof. Rossiter as the boss and many other people that are very important there. So Emanuele will told us that something interesting is a question. Beyond countermeasure, could soft exosuit redefine musculoskeletal health in space? Who knows? Let's go.
Thank you very much for the kind introduction. It's always a pleasure being back here. It brings back memories, you know, it's the best. Thank you very much for having me all. I start my talk with a question because I'm not a physiologist, I'm an engineer, and not a really good one either. So I'm very much out of my depth here, and I'm really here to spark a discussion and understand where I can take my work with your input. So my research mainly focused on the development of soft exoskeletons, or as we call them, exosuits, to help astronauts maintain the muscle mass when they're in space, but also to assist them while wearing a big, heavy spacesuit while they're walking on the Moon or on Mars. So we all know what the problem we're trying to solve is, and here I think this is quite a good video for it. Astronauts coming back from the ISS are extremely weak for various reasons, but especially because their muscle mass decreases quite rapidly during permanence in hypergravity and microgravity. So the challenge, in my opinion, is twofold. In space, we have prolonged exposure to hypergravity, which causes lack of axial loading, which in turn causes loss of muscle mass and bone density. The same actually happens on Earth during, for example, rehabilitation after orthopedic injuries or for different neuromuscular conditions. So the problem of muscle mass is a problem both for Earth and space. What my vision was to develop a device that could help astronauts with maintaining the muscle mass while they're in space throughout the whole mission, basically. So I think, in my opinion, what's lacking is not that exercise, it's not effective in maintaining muscle mass, but we lack the constant loading that we have on Earth, right? So it's the loading throughout the day that lacks when we're in space. Hence the idea of creating this device that could put loading on the body for the whole day, for the whole mission. So I created this prototype, which doesn't look like much. It's certainly not good for the Milan Fashion Week, but we tested it here in Milan with Gaspare, Valentina and Francesco. And here the objective was to put adaptive resistance adapted to the gait so that we could increase the muscle activation of lower limb muscles, as well as maintaining the natural gait patterns of the subject. This is a very quick snapshot of the results that we got by measuring 7 major muscles in the lower limbs, and metabolic expense as well. So what we noticed is that we were able, with an active resistive exosuit, to bring the metabolic expense on the Moon to the same level as on Earth. So this is kind of a general measure, but please contradict me if I'm wrong, because I'm not really sure. But this is a general measure of how much your muscles are working. And then we went to look into the actual muscles, and what we noticed is that for the rectus femoris and the bicep femoris in particular, as well as other muscles, we actually got a higher muscle activation when we were on the Moon with an active resistive exosuit. And obviously the resistance that we were inputting was just at the knee joint, so we were resisting knee extensors and knee flexors. But there were influences on other muscles, such as the gastrocnemius medialis, the tibialis, and the soleus as well. I won't go into details because I don't want to bore you with it, but please ask me questions about it later on. So, again, like I said, I'm coming to you with a question, or a set of questions, or rather a non-exhaustive list of questions that I really don't have the answer to. The first one, for me, in my opinion, is what combination of magnitude, frequency, timing, and exposure to the force, the resistive force, do we need? And what is biologically meaningful in terms of intensity, for example? Can we work just at sub-maximum level of force delivery? The other question that I would like to explore soon is what tissue should we prioritize? Obviously, we know the muscle mass is the first things that goes, and bone density. But is there something in the tendons that we need to look at? Is there something in the neuromotor control that we need to look at? And is there a way we can design these soft exosuits to help with that? So to help with tendon maintenance, for example, or recovery of neuromotor control. And then the third, not the last, but this is kind of, a summary of what is in my brain right now. What activities require resistance? What activities require assistance? What is the right level of mix between resistance and assistance during the mission? And also, what are the long-term implications of having force applied onto your body for 3 years, for example, during a Mars mission? And we haven't done the long-term studies for this. We only have done very short bouts here in Milan, which give us clues, but don't give us a definitive response to this. Moving on to the current work that I'm doing, I'm really interested in exploring assistive technologies for astronauts as well. So not only help maintaining with the muscle mass, but also help with some mobility issues that arise when you're wearing a heavy spacesuit. I'm showing a moon video as well, because I think they're pretty cool. But you can see that astronauts really struggle when gravity is lower than Earth, and they're also wearing a heavy spacesuit. So what my idea was to develop a soft exoskeleton or an exosuit to help with recovering that kind of mobility while wearing a spacesuit. Really what I was interested in is to understand what the interaction with the spacesuit and the human body was, and how we could merge that gap between the two systems. So I developed this multi-joint soft exosuit that we tested in an analog space mission in Australia a few months ago. The suit itself is helping with knee extension and with ankle plantar flexion. Again, here I focused on these two because I know that the main problem while wearing a spacesuit is the crouch-like gait that astronauts adopt when they have a heavy spacesuit on. So what I wanted to do is increase the mobility during extension and increase the mobility during push-off during the gait cycle. But again, I'm not sure whether these are the right things to look at when we assist astronauts walking in low gravity. This is just a video from the mission itself, so you can't see the suit, but it is worn underneath the spacesuit. This is an analog spacesuit, so it's not fully pressurized like a normal spacesuit. The one you can hear is a compressor that's giving us the air supply. And these are preliminary results from the mission itself. I'll explain maybe more details for who's interested what the tasks are. But you can see that in major knee extensors and on the gastrocnemius medialis, we notice a big reduction in EMG activity. So I think we're going down the right path, but again, not sure. So there are a few physiological questions, like I said, that are quite open. And I would like to explore all of them, but please give me your feedback on this. Because I know I'm missing something, and it would be great to get your opinion on this. Thank you very much. This is Pale Blue Dot, picture of the Earth taken at 6 billion kilometers away, just to remind us that we're nothing. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Emanuele. We are really nothing.
Fantastic talk, thank you. More questions, because obviously there is the issue of gravity, there is the issue of the bulk of the suit, there is the issue of the terrain. So basically they are in hypogravity with a huge suit in a big sandbox, which reduces tactile information, vibration information. Are you guys looking into it, maybe in ways to increase the sensory feedback from step, which is super important for timing gait cycle and so on?
This is a great question, thank you very much. I actually wanted to ask a question before about this, because I'm guessing that wearing a spacesuit will interfere with the sensory feedback that you get. So even the skipping won't help you with getting that sensory feedback because you've got this big heavy spacesuit on top of you. I'm currently not looking at that in the sense that I haven't thought about it since today, basically. But the idea would be if we can have a device that you can wear, so maybe even a shoe of some sort or a sock that could give you some sort of sensory feedback when you're moving around in a spacesuit. But even without the spacesuit, could be helpful. I don't know in how, like, what meaningful physiological way we could do that, but I would love to have a chat about it if you guys have any ideas. Thank you.
Thank you, Emanuele. Very nice idea. And the concept of having this suit that is also can provide some resistance to movement is a very nice idea, potential countermeasures. However, we should bear in mind that Sherrington taught us that the brain thinks in terms of movement, not in terms of muscles. So, to preserve movement, you need to use also sensory proprioceptive feedback. And so, not only you need to train your muscle, but you should also train your sensory motor system to keep the cortical representation of the movement. Because if you are for time too long without proprioceptive input, you gradually lose the cortical representation of the movement.
Yeah, I think this is what I'm kind of learning from this today. I mainly focused, I thought, if we do resistant training on the go, kind of, that was my idea, could help with maintaining the muscle mass. But from your talks, I think sensory feedback and proprioception is quite important. So I'm definitely going to take it in on the design of the next devices for sure. Yeah. And if you have any ideas on how to implement this, would be great.
Last week.
Yeah. Paolo, thank you, Mr. Boven. Yeah, I'm already. Yeah, thanks for the nice talk. I think it's also quite a big challenge integrating already with gravity is hard part, with different gravity probably even more. And my question is more related when muscle mass is lost due to low gravity, microgravity. Did you see that it's lost in the same rate across all muscles from the lower limbs, or some muscles lose much more mass than others?
I was hoping no one would test me in this, but I don't remember the exact data. But from what I remember, the main muscles that go first are the ones that are responsible for maintaining your standing, so for stable standing, which I believe in that case would be the calf muscles, or the gastrocnemius, the soleus and the tibialis. So those are the first ones that go. We do see a lot of reduction in quad muscle mass as well, and bicep teres. But lower limb muscles are generally the first ones that go.
Thank you.
Thank you.